This short film will take us through the transition from Old English into Middle English. The transition from Old English really starts what we talked about before. The Christian missionaries in 597 arrive, and those Latin words start to influence the language. In 800, the Vikings come, and there's even more influence that happens in our language. But the big change really comes in 1066, when some of the original Britons who fled to France back when the Anglos and the Saxons invaded England decide that they really should come back and claim the land for themselves because they were the original natives. And these people, after they left Britain, settled in Normandy, France. Thus, this ends up being called the Norman Conquest because they're from Norman. It's a military campaign, and William the Conqueror is the one who heads up this military campaign. He's successful, and because the invading people now speak French, and they're fluent French, and they have power over society, they require all business and politics to be spoken and conducted in French. And naturally, this really greatly influences the language. As we change to Middle English in 1100, it's only a short time after the Norman Conquest, you see that Middle English looks a little more like our current English, and you can actually kind of make out what this is saying, more so than the Old English. But it is pronounced very differently and sounds very different. And after you're finished with this video, you're going to watch a video of someone reading live in Middle English. This language acquires many new words brought over by the French, and a lot of them are very sophisticated. You'll find out that the French had ceilings, but the poor Britons only had the underside of a roof. There was no ceilings in their house. But at this point, those things start to pass. The Britons don't have a word for beef. They have a cow, and when they're going to eat it, they eat cow. They don't eat beef. But when it's cooked, the French now say it's beef, and there's lots of additions of language like that. Geoffrey Chaucer is the first person who was actually willing to publish a piece in the language of the common people and not of the ruling Normans, which he actually took a big risk in this politically, but he decided that it was worth to give the normal people, the common folk, something to read, which actually points out a lot of hypocrisy in the church and in the government at the time. Not until the 100 Years' War, which is from 1337 to 1553, is there another major shift. So Middle English stays pretty much the way it is until we have this 100 Years' War. The English natives get victorious, and then it becomes, finally, English becomes the acceptably spoken language. And it does change a little bit over the next 50 years when we get into modern English. The next part of this lesson will be to watch the video of somebody reading in Middle English.